Okay. You might be having more trouble with this than I would have anticipated, but, you know, this is something I've been doing for thousands of years. And even though I wouldn't consider myself a master of it, it seems to be simple at this point. Okay? So, maybe I expect it to be simpler than it is. But, okay, take a look now. What do you have in common between this expression, this expression, this expression, and this expression? Pardon?
The t plus h.
Well, most of the symbols are the same, right? So we want to see what this equals. Let's just go to T500, Y500, because doing it for an n, well, it's actually very simple, but unless you've seen it, and I don't want you to see it unless you understand why it's going to be what it is. So T500, Y500 should be equal to, and let me, I really want a little more room over here. I wasn't anticipating actually having to do this, but it's okay. Do what we got to do, okay? So, we expect that the expression is going to involve a bunch of symbols that are very similar to these with some differences. Okay, the things that are always the same, you always have a t something plus h, right? And you always have a y something plus f of t something, comma, y something times h. So you can always write that down, but now you know you've got to fill in some subscripts. You've got to fill in a subscript here, and here, and here, and here, because all the t's and the y's, you'll notice, have subscripts on them, right? Now, how do you determine what the subscripts are? Huh?
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, the subscripts are going to be, well, what can you tell me about the subscripts in this one? T2, Y2, T1, plus H, Y1, and so forth. What determines what these subscripts are? I'm
Which
sorry?
iteration you're in.
The what?
Determines which iteration you're pulling the number from. The n.
Okay, well, which iteration are you in here?
So T1 is actually the second iteration.
Okay, so you're in the second iteration. So what iteration are you going to be in here?
It's 5. It's 5.
Is it 500 or 499 or 501? Okay, well, easy to see what iteration you're in. If this is the second iteration, where do you see something that might indicate that this is iteration number 2?
The T naught.
There's no T naught in this thing.
We had a T naught before, so this is the second one.
I don't care what you had before. What is it here that indicates the number of the iteration?
T2.
The subscripts here are the numbers of the iterations, right? Okay, first iteration gets you to T1, Y1. Second iteration to T2, Y2. So this must be the 500th iteration. Okay? And, okay, well, we already know, no, this tells you it's a 500th iteration, right? So how does that tell you what subscripts you put over here?
Well, if you look at your stuff up there and it's T1 plus H, you need it to be 500. I did T naught plus H times N, but
Yeah, we don't want to do that because we want to imitate this.
right.
But it is.
Or Sure.
And you might have seen that in your book too. Yeah, well, you wouldn't read your book. No, actually, you would. Okay? If you could find the time, which is your only real handicap. Okay?
Mhm.
So I'm impressing you and managed to do it. So, yeah, there we go.
So in this one, we do t with the subscript of n minus 1, or I'm sorry.
I don't see any n's in this expression. We talked about n minus 1.
We're declaring an n?
No, we are.
Yeah.
We're doing T500,
Okay.
Y500.
Okay. All right, so T1 is 499.
Okay, well, let's ask ourselves, how do the subscripts on the right here relate to the subscripts on the left?
They're one prior.
Huh?
They're one prior. So-
One prior, okay. The subscript is one less then. Is that true for all these?
Yeah.
Okay. So if the subscript on the new expression is one, or the expression on the right is one less than the expression on the left, then what subscript should I be using here?
499.
Yeah, 499. Now you can see that from the pattern, but there's a reason for it. What's the reason that it better be 499? It doesn't even require that you look at the pattern.
Because this is the next iteration.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
No, it's my ears, it's
Yeah.
not you.
Repeat the question of what determined, or
What's the reason the subscript should be 499? You can't say the subscript should be 499 just because it's always one less on each of the previous ones,
because
right?
the number that we're getting is based off the previous numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, you can't prove the pattern just by saying it should repeat. You gotta prove that it does repeat,
Yeah.
which is mathematical induction, okay? So, okay, this is the pattern. But that don't prove nothing. Okay? Why? And the why is, well, here's your T500, Y500. It came from T49, 499, Y499. Since each step is based on the result of the previous step. Okay? So here's T500, Y500. You gotta go back to T4099, Y499. Okay? That's why it's one less. And then you have your whole picture, you know, here's your slope. is f of t499, y499, which of course is why I want you to draw out the picture and think about it. Okay? Because once it makes sense, it's quite simple. Until you make sense, it's kind of confusing, okay? So here's your point. You follow this out to here. This is h. This is okay. And this is T500, Y500, which has to equal this. Because if you go from T499 H units, you're at T499 plus H. If your slope is f of T499, Y499, which it is, and your run of your triangle is H, the rise of your triangle is this, and that gets added to what your Y was. Okay? That's a really important picture. Okay, I'm beating these triangles into my pre-calculus class's heads in hopes that some of them, when and if they take calculus, and of course the goal of pre-calculus is to teach people at least that much mathematics with an eye toward taking at least applied calculus course, with the idea that this triangle will persist with them, and they'll actually come out of calculus understanding what a derivative is. And they'd be the first set of pre-calculus students in the universe who ever did. Come out of, first set of calculus students that ever came out knowing what a derivative is. And it's because they knew it as pre-calculus students. And we don't do much with these triangles of pre-calculus. We're too busy trying to teach people the algebra they didn't learn in algebra class. And back on my soapbox, you know how it goes. Okay.
So the only thing that I got stuck on in this when we were doing that is I was trying to do the t of n, y sub n, t sub n, y sub n, without the f of t sub n, y sub n, because that's without having something that's not really defined. I don't know. So I would have to have every subscript from the 499th down to actually have a solution.
Yeah, but that would be no problem, even with Excel, which is a little clumsy when you get into the big numbers.
Yeah.
Okay? And with a computer algebra system, you just write it, say, do this 10,000 times and tell me what the answer is.
Right.
And maybe you tell it to keep track of things in case you want to trace them. But once you are confident in the program and know enough mental arithmetic and visualization to see if the result makes any sense at all, okay, and then test it against some other model, and then try to build it and see if it blows up or falls down or goes up in a puff of blue smoke. Okay, I leave that to the engineers. All mine, who knows what they do. I'm living in a house that I built and always paranoid, Okay. Anyhow, so what do you do for T and Yn?
Using n subscripts?
Yeah. Well, for T and Yn, is based on what? The previous step,
Right.
which gave you what?
I'm sorry. Previous step, which gave you this step that you looked at.
Well, here, the previous step from T500, Y500 is what gave you T499, Y499.
So T of 500 being T of n sub n, all of our T of 499 would be T of n minus 1.
Yeah, and you said that earlier, but I kind of rejected it for the moment, but I knew you'd come up with it again. Okay? Because I didn't want to focus on that.
Yeah.
Partly because half the class is kind of new to this, newer than you are, okay? Okay, so we wanted to not make too big a jump there. Okay, so. Because that involves the whole idea of a sequence of numbers. Of course, you're supposed to have done that in calculus and be used to the end notation for subscripts and have thought through this stuff. As I say, earlier deficiencies in the curriculum forbid any calculus student to come out knowing calculus, but anyhow. Okay. So you could draw out the rest of the picture for this. I'll probably ask you to. But then you see that you add the h to your t and to the y n minus 1, you take the slope and there's your formula. So this formula really defines the entire iterative process. Okay? Now, I didn't have time to get to the Excel, but we'll take a little time with that next time. Okay? I want you to get this down, understand the process, not just take this as a formula and start applying it, although we should also be able to do that. Okay? Everything starts with a picture, the meaning of a derivative. Okay? And then you easily develop this entire pattern. Okay.